Hello everyone, welcome to day 219 of playing chess every day for you. Let's find the game. We get the white pieces, so I'll go for e4. We instantly get e5, so knight f3. Knight to c6, so bishop to c4. They play h6, stopping me from the fried level, so I'll just play c3. Now I have to play d3. If they bring their bishop, I would play h3 normally, but I could just play b4. They strike the center. I don't think that's the best move. I can just take with my pawn. And if they take, I can go ahead and castle. And rook e1 will help me. Rook e1 would help me to attack this pawn. This move is very, very weird. I'll play rook e1, just target the pawn. I mean, they can't really stop me from winning the pawn. I can play d4. f6 is not a good move at all. Just really weakens their king. They'd have to long castle then. They pin my knight to my queen. But I can just go ahead and bring my other knight into the game and then play h3. I could also just move my queen up. I think queen to d3 is definitely a move that I can play. They can't really attack the queen in any way. Except for this move, but then I just take. I'll play queen to d3 and then I'm threatening to take the pawn. I'm threatening to take e5, which would then attack the knight. And I'm also attacking the pawn also. They can defend that way, but I'll just take. And this is still losing a piece, so I also hit the knight now. I hit two pieces now, so that was a terrible bishop move from them. And also taking the bishop would give me a check, so they have to just be very careful here. They take, I can actually just take. I could take this knight first. Or I could take with the queen. But I think I'll just go ahead and take this way. To hit the other bishop also. Hitting this bishop. If I move the knight, I have a check. If they take, I just have a check. And then I can pick up this. Okay, so I could go ahead and take this, because this bishop is pinned to the king anyway. If I take, they can go back, which would defend. Maybe I take like this. I think I go ahead and take with the queen. This is pinned to the king. If a trade happens, it will be very good for me. I'll just be hitting these two pawns, and then this would still be hanging. And obviously I'm hitting this pawn, so they can't really try to protect anything. They'd have to just take. And after this trade, I can simply just play bishop to f4, and they can't hold on to the piece. I mean, they could, but they'll just lose a pawn, and my rook would be in the middle of the board. I mean, here I can simply just take. That's actually a nice move, because if I take the queen, the rook would take, and if I took the bishop, that'd be losing material. But now I do have a check here. Check if they block. That wouldn't be so good for me. I'll go ahead and just simplify. What's the plan now? I could slide back. I could take, but then back rank mate. I could play a move like f4, which seems terrible, but could actually be quite good. They go ahead and castle, really. I mean, here I think I can just drop back, and I'm completely fine. Now their bishop's also hanging, because there's no check. They drop back. I'll just start with h3 here. Bishop to... I was gonna say bishop to f4 is good, but here I can also just bring my knight. Now my rook is one move away from being connected. They step their rook up. I do have bishop a4, which seems okay. The rook down. I could repeat moves. I could also just push the pawn. Rook over. I am happy to trade. This is hit. It's protected. My back rank is very weak, but I have to deal with that for now. Rook over is a threat. This would be mate. Knight to d3 stops that though. It's protected 2 times now. They run their king over. I think here what I'll do is I'll start bringing my bishop into the game. If they go back, I just take. If they go here with the check, that is a nice move, but I can just bring my king closer to the center and then really try to trade the bishop off. That's a nice move. If I take, I lose my knight. I can just slide back though. They take, I take. If they push, I'm fine. I bring my king to the center. I could just play rook b1 and then push. I can also just block with my knight. Well, I mean, blocking with the knight though would open up the rook, so I don't want to do that. I will play rook b1 and then push. And then bring my bishop in. They go back now. That just lets me push here. And strengthen everything. I can also go after this pawn. They can slide over to protect it, but now I have moves like knight to e8. I think I'll just play slowly here. Now I'm threatening a check. And if the king stepped over, bishop over really. I have a check now, and if the king steps here, I could almost go here, but not at the moment. I'll start with the check. King over. Pushing opens up this check. Now I also have this check. This bishop check is actually very, very good. The king's forced into squares where the king's actually almost forced into a mating net. So I'll play bishop h6 check. I could take first, which is definitely the best move. Now bishop h6 check is just so powerful. The king's forced backwards into almost a mating net. They could try to pin me, but then I just give a check. And maybe even go ahead and block with the knight, losing a pawn. This check is so strong for me. And if they pin me, I can also just step away. Bishop h6 check is such a powerful move. I'm quite sure I'd be able to win that bishop with this sequence. So bishop check, if king back, I have another check, the king is forced to the corner. Then I step back with a discovered check to win that bishop. Instead they go there, so that's completely wrong. King up, I have this. King to the corner, I have this. They have to step here. And I don't see any mating net, but I can just pick up the bishop. They take my knight, they lose the rook. This is also hanging. And they go ahead and resign. Let's have a look at this game. I played at an 86.9, they played at a 74.6. And I was completely winning the entire game. All these moves were good. Castling actually isn't best, it's best to actually attack the knight first. And if they move their knight, I would just have... If they move their knight to a5, I'd just have a check, which would pick up one of the pieces, so it's not possible. But going back was definitely a mistake. It just seems like such a strange move. Rook e1 is the move that attacks the pawn. I could have also just taken first, because it was hanging. They tried to defend it, but I can still just take her. And queen up was wrong. I could have just given the check and made the weakness here. But that's a terrible move because I can still just take now. And it was best to take the bishop with check. I thought they'd just go ahead and block her. But then I can play queen to d5. Queen takes d5. Because the bishop is pinned to the king. And if they took, I'd just have this. Then they have to play rook to d8. And I can go ahead and... That threatens mate actually, so I'd have to play bishop f-frame. It's quite complicated, but... I can simply just trade here. It was best for them to take. They didn't. And so I can slowly, very slowly move my pieces around the board. And just improve my position. All these moves were good. Check is good. They allowed me this sequence. And they resign in this position. It's checkmate in 2 moves. I think they'd have to play here. Then I play rook to h7 check. Wow, I'd have another check here. If they take on f6, rook to f7 would be mate. Rook takes f7 would be mate. That's a very nice checkmate. And also if they went king f8, would said if they went king to f8, bishop takes d6 check is mate. Wow. Instead they resigned in this position. And so we got the win. So that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.